Hey everybody, today I'm talking about first time cruise mistakes. You know, there's a first time for everything. And I always say that the first time is to get the kinks out. You make all your mistakes, you learn all your lessons, and you make necessary changes going forward. It's vacation, right? We don't want to have to struggle through vacation. We want to enjoy every ounce of it. I mean, we've saved our money, we've planned, we've prepared. Who wants the aggravation? Not me. I'm guessing you don't either. So let's get into it. This is super important, and something you really want to think about when you're booking your cruise is to choose the right cruise line, cruise ship, and cruise cabin that is right for your family. Or if you don't have a family and you're a single, that's important as well. All the cruise lines do things differently, so you want to do your research to pick the one that works for you. Now, a lot of the fleets, and this is kind of like all across the board on cruise lines, all of the fleets have older ships and then they have newer ships. And typically older ships are going to be smaller ships. Smaller ships mean less amenities. So if you have a family, you're bringing children, you don't necessarily want to book one of these smaller ships because your kids are not going to be as well entertained as they would on one of the new mega ships. Again, all the cruise lines straight across the board, they all have great mega ships with water slides, rock walls, maybe skating rinks. I mean, you name it. There are multiple things for kids to do. But additionally, if you're a single or you're a couple looking for a romantic getaway and you're just not trying to be around kids, you probably don't want to book one of the mega ships with all of the kids' activities because it's going to attract a lot of families. Pick one of the smaller ships. Even though the fleets are older, these ships go through a dry dock every number of years and get completely renovated. So they're all updated. They'll even add restaurants. They'll make design changes. So many things to keep it feeling like a newer ship. So you're not really losing much of anything. And my husband and I, we really do enjoy the smaller ships. We feel like the service is more spot on. We've had better meals. There are numerous things. But when we go as a family, we definitely enjoy the mega ships. So going from that, now when you're picking a cruise line, they're not all created equal. There are other things you want to consider. Dining. There are some cruise lines that have scheduled dining, so you have to pick a time slot, either like 6 or 8 p.m. Our family, we don't like that. We don't know if we're going to have a late lunch or how late we're going to be at a port stop. So we don't want to be trapped into a specific dining period. So cruise lines that offer that, that's not going to work for us. Norwegian, for instance, has freestyle dining, so that's one that we book with most often because they have freestyle dining, they're known for good food, and we can dine when and where we want to. So these are just some of the things to think about, but you really want to do your work investigating this. And cabin choice, big deal. We just booked a couple months ago a last minute deal. It was an amazing deal on the Norwegian Epic, but it was in an inside room. Now, I had never been in an inside room before, and I thought, you know, how bad can it be? We're rarely in our room. Let's do it. It's a deal. I regretted it from the moment I walked in. I'm not claustrophobic or anything, but for me, when I'm on vacation, I just didn't want to feel like I was in a closet, and I kind of felt like that. The room felt very small. I didn't like that I couldn't see anything outside. I couldn't get any natural daylight while we spent time in the room. So for me, I think I would do an upgrade to an ocean view the next time. If you're all about the budget, go for it. But don't do it just thinking, oh, hey, I'm going to sacrifice, it'll be fine, and then you show up and you're miserable. The next big cruise mistake I see that happens very often, and maybe it's not even a mistake, it's just a choice that's made that probably could be a better one, is people get excited. I was one of those when I found out you don't need a passport to cruise. As long as you start and end at the same port, you can use your birth certificate and a picture ID. I have heard more than enough times horror stories of people missing the ship when they're at port, different things happening, and if you end up stuck in any other country or island without a passport, you're gonna regret it. The added charge, it's about $150 a person. Passports last 10 years, only 5 years for minors, but 10 years for $150, it is worth it. Just do it. It's less paperwork to carry, and I'm so glad when we finally pulled the trigger and did it last year. So next, some people don't know that it is so important to fly in the night before your cruise because planes have delays. We live in Wisconsin, we see delays all the time in the winter due to snow. So You don't want to have to fly in the morning to where a delay could actually have you miss your ship, because it is very costly then to have to get another flight or certain transportation to catch up with the ship. You don't want to go through that. Just come in the night before, book a hotel, even 2 nights before if you're able to extend your vacation. It really makes sense and will save you a lot of unnecessary stress. I have 2 simple packing tips that are necessary, but something that first-time cruisers don't always think about. When you check in your luggage at the port, you want to be sure to have a carry-on luggage that you can keep with you as you board the ship. Of course, you don't want to bring all your big, huge luggage. It's much easier to have them deliver it to the room. However, there is no guarantee in when that room is going to be ready, so you want to have essentials with you that you may need if your room's not ready till, say, 3 p.m. in the afternoon and you get on board at 11 a.m. That's a long time. So you want to pack essentials, possibly your swimsuit if you think you're going to want to hang by the pool and get some sun, any necessary medications that you might need, anything that you may deem an essential just to have for you and your family with you. Bring a carry-on that you bring on the ship yourself. Number 2, this was a common complaint that I've heard from men especially, bring enough shirts. We bring outfits, we count all of the days that we're going to be on a cruise, and I've even heard people say, don't overpack, and that being a tip. I don't agree at all. Your first cruise, overpack. You have no idea what you may need, and nobody wants to be sitting there thinking, I don't have enough clothes, or I don't know what to do, or I wish I had this, and you don't want to feel like that. Pack enough shirts. When we're at port, we go to beaches, we do things where you might get sweaty, sandy, whatever. Throw on a shirt and shorts. When we get back on the ship, that's when we shower for dinner, and we'll need a whole new outfit and want to wear something completely different. You just never know what you're going to need, and shirts don't weigh that much. It's not really an added weight or going to add a lot of bulk to your suitcase. Now, as I mentioned about putting essentials on your carry-on bag, I just want to remind you to bring essentials, just overall, your medication essentials. You don't want to have an unnecessary, overpriced visit to the medical center. Anybody that's familiar with the medical center knows you don't even want to get your temperature taken there. I think somebody's been charged like $100 to see if they had a fever. I'm not doing that. I'm not spending that kind of money if I don't have to. So I bring all the essentials. Everything you think you may need, and even if you may not need it, throw it in your bag. Do everything possible you can to avoid having to go to that medical center. Now, I have another video of tips, hacks, and tricks, and talk about medications and great things that you can pack as well to help ensure that you won't have to hit the medical center. I guess this is another packing tip. Be sure to go online and check your cruise line's list of unapproved items. There are unapproved items that are not allowed in your cabin for safety reasons. We had friends that found out the hard way. When we got to Miami, we drove to a Walmart. They bought a box fan. She said that she likes to have a fan on her when she sleeps. Said, I'm gonna buy it here and it's only 20 bucks. I'll just leave it in the room when I'm done. She checked it in at the port with her luggage, and when the luggage was delivered to the room, there was no fan. There was just a letter saying that there was contraband with her luggage and it was confiscated, and she would have to go to guest services for more information. That was real aggravating for her. She had to jump through hoops and wait in lines, and it was very difficult. She ended up getting the fan. However, you want to know what you're up against before you leave, because with certain things, if you have medical issues or something's medically required, you can call in advance and get these things approved. So you just want to know what you're up against. If for some reason there was some piece of equipment that you required and they confiscated it from you and you couldn't have it all week, that could be devastating. So just read the list in advance so that you're well aware of all the rules. And the next one isn't a mistake, but it's more of a tip that we finally did, I think it was this year, for the first time for our next cruise. Join a Facebook group. There are Facebook groups for all the different cruise lines, all the different ships, and people even create them for specific sailings. We're even part of a group for our specific sailing in February of next year on the Breakaway. It's been a great way to get to know people. I scheduled a meet and greet so we can meet up with other people. We can get kids together with other kids. We're even going to do a fun little shot glass swap where everybody brings one from the state or city that they're in, and then we swap them. So we get one from another city or state of someone else, which I thought would be fun. And we're going to try to schedule something for the kids as well. Regardless, not here nor there, but a Facebook group is a great way to be able to post all the questions that you might have, especially as a first-time cruiser. Post them all. People are great at answering them, and that will help a lot to get you prepared for your first cruise, probably more than anything else. Next, make dinner or show reservations before boarding the ship. Many people don't know, once you pay the final balance of your cruise, you're able to go online and book your reservations for specialty restaurants and shows. Now, don't freak out if you haven't and you're very close to your cruise date, your sail date, and you haven't booked anything and it looks like everything is sold out. Don't freak out. When you get on board, every day they add new time slots. However, if you're one that likes to prepare and likes to have certain things in order, if there's a specific day you want to dine, specific time that's important to you, or you have a group that you're dining with, so it's important that you all get together at this particular time, do it in advance just for peace of mind. You don't necessarily want to wait to have to book everything when you get on board. So, even though we usually do, and we end up okay, but we're very go with the flow because it's vacation. But I know not everybody thinks like that. Everybody's different. So if you're an OCD planner, do it right after you make final payment. This one I've been guilty of as a first-time cruiser. It's probably about 20 years ago, but you have to take the muster drills seriously. I thought when they ran the muster drill that was just for people who were freaked out about sinking or whatnot. I'm not worried about it. I'll figure it out if we end up sinking. I don't feel like we will, so let's just stay in our room. And no, the room steward ends up coming in your room and demanding that you get to your muster drill station. So, you know, I found out that way, not a big deal. But even now we find that people miss the drill and they will, some cruise lines, they will hunt you down and find you. You have to go to a redo class. It's really annoying probably for not only the staff, but for you, because you have to go. So just do it when everybody else does it. It's 10 minutes, it's really quick, and it's good to be prepared in case of an emergency, because it could happen. So as a first-time cruiser, you're getting on a ship, you're gonna be overwhelmed. There's so much to see, there's so much to experience, and of course, your time ends up limited. Even if you're on a full week cruise, it goes so fast. So I suggest taking a self-guided tour of the entire ship. The reason I'm saying this is because I didn't do that. I went to where I went, did what I did. We'd look up, oh, make a reservation for dinner here just because, and just kind of show up there. Towards the end of our cruise on the Norwegian Escape, big old mega ship, my mom was on with us. We were with a group, and she said to meet her outside on deck 8 because she loves it. It's her favorite deck. I get there, I'm like, wow, I had no idea this area even existed. And it was a great area, and the outdoor seating area ended up being my favorite part of the whole ship and still is to this day on ships. I love the Norwegian newer ships that have deck 8, which is called the waterfront. It's great seating, it's waterfront seating, it's quiet, relaxed, serene. You can read a book, you can take a nap, as my husband did while I was reading a book. It's fabulous, and I'll even walk it in the morning all the way around because it's not as loud. The pool is fun, and I love the pool for what it is. The kids love the water slides and love spending time there, but it kind of gets a little crazy and loud and a little much for me that I love going over to deck 8. If the kids aren't swimming, I'm going to spend time on deck 8 at the waterfront. Maybe that's not your thing, but best to take a self-guided ship tour to see what your ship has because you don't want to miss anything. And find out later after you're off the ship thinking, I wish I would have done that. And my last, number one mistake of first-time cruisers is not putting your phone in airplane mode. Yes, again, that was another mistake of mine, thinking, there's no service out here. I'm not going to connect to anything. Why would I be charged? I'm not going to make any calls. I'm not going to text. No. What I found is the ship has its own cellular service that your phone will automatically connect to if you don't have your phone settings properly set up, like no roaming. So, our first cruise, you know, I have my son calling me, Mom, what are you doing to the phone bill? Because if you just receive text messages or notifications, emails, or whatever, even without initiating them, you're getting charged. So that's all I have today for first time cruise mistakes. If I've missed anything, please list it in the comments below. I love your comments and feedback. So positive or negative? Nope, just positive. Changed my mind. Let's keep it positive. But I thank you for joining me on my Destined journey, and I'll see you next time. Bye!